Do y'all have Rumspringa? So, yes, we did have what we call Rumspringa, running around. It was going to the singings on Sunday nights. And for the most part, that was all that the youth group did. We had a few other special occasions where we would get together as a youth group, especially like on Pink Schmoondog, Pentecost Mondays, we'd get together and have in our community. All the youth would get together, have ball games, volleyball games, a big meal. And then if you had a girlfriend, if you were going steady, you could take your girlfriend home, but you were not allowed to stay at her house and visit with her after the fact like a normal date. It wasn't until after I left the Amish that I realized there was the Hollywood version of Rumspringa, which, as they portray it, it is going out into the world and experiencing everything that you want to experience and seeing if you want to be Amish or not. That was not a thing in our community. So to me, yes, we had Rumspringa. It just didn't mean what Hollywood says. To this Amish boy here, Rumspringa was just going to the singings on Sunday night. And yes, we did party in our community. About half the kids partied. We would go back in the woods before the singing and sometimes after the singing. We might drink a few beers, listen to some old classic country, Oak Ridge Boys, George Strait, George Jones, Conway Twitty, Alan Jackson, Merle Haggard, Waylon Jennings, just to name a few, Hank Williams Jr. We had some good music we listened to, some bluegrass, Jimmy Martin, Stanley Brothers, stuff like that, Flat and Scruggs. So if you ask me if I had Rumspringa, yes, I did. But I was never allowed to go out and experience whatever I wanted to experience. We did all this stuff in secrecy because we were not allowed to have music. We were not allowed to drink. So we had to hide the fact that we were doing that. And when the time came for me to leave the Amish, I had to deny to my parents that I was going to leave, and I basically ran away. And it was to come experience life and see if I wanted to live my life not being Amish. But it was not considered Rumspringa by me when I left. It was not considered Rumspringa by my family or by anybody in that community. They just said, "Is Springa," he ran away. Or some of them said, "I jumped the fence." Now, there are a few more modern communities that do allow their youth, their young folks, to go out and experience the world. Most of the time, they still live at home. I had some relatives in Indiana that we visited, and when we showed up, he had a nice Chevy Silverado sitting there, the kid that lived at this home where the reunion was, and he had a huge stereo system in his room. I remember being so jealous because he was about my age, a couple years older than me, and I was so jealous of all that he had, and he was allowed to have it at home with his Amish parents. So it does happen in more modern communities.